from Dragging the Line podcast. I'm your host with the most, one more Sanchez, and joining me today live on Zoom are the founders of the Green Room LA, Max and Allie. Welcome to the show. Thank you again for being on the show. I really do appreciate it. Before I even start the questions, I noticed you guys promote a lot of local, and you also have a lot of local stand-up comedy here at Dragging the Line. That's something that we praise on, and that's something that we do. So kudos to you. I appreciate that. The first question is, how did you guys start the Green Room?
We've always been to live stand-up comedy. We both grew up in Los Angeles. We both enjoy cannabis, and we try to combine two things that we liked very much well, and we try to bring that to the community. And to have a better connection to the community, we needed to hire good local comics, and here we are doing three years on, right?
Just about, yeah. We started off like in a tiny little back space of a store. Like you'd walk in and it's a clothing store, and then you walk farther and they have a bigger space. So we started there with about like 40 people, just found a 420 friendly owner and went from there. And then after our show grew in popularity, we were able to move over to a coffee shop with similar vibes, but they have this like awesome beer garden set up in the back that we could take over that and take over the parking lot and make this like big kind of community party. To be honest, it's not just a sit down stand up show. We bring in taco trucks and the Tacos El Junior. Shout out to them. We love them. Bring them over and have a DJ playing like reggae and reggaeton and like those types of dance.
So everything.
Yeah. So we just like to have a little party when we have our shows.
Yeah, most of our audiences, they walk to our shows.
Okay. Since you started in 2018 and then with the pandemic, everything had to be virtual. How has that been for you guys?
It is honestly like, it's not the same as doing that whole thing live. I think it's an amazing way to connect with people that you usually wouldn't connect with. So we had a lot of family members from out of town that were able to see comedians that were right down the street from us. And same thing with our audience. Like we have people that were watching from Philly and Florida and Texas, and people that were watching us for the first time, pretty much like this. And although it's not like an ideal green room experience to see us like this via computer, I still think it's a really great way for comedians to expand their range a little bit and to do comedy into the void of the internet.
Yeah, it was really like more of like a community social thing than anything. Everybody likes getting a little bit of stage time, but it seemed like more what people were getting out of it was just like, oh hey, there you are, like hey, like Johnny, hey Sue. It's like just like being able to actually see people from the normally where you'd see them at the bar or the club or wherever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people watched us perform in our living room like this.
The coolest thing, can I tell you a quick story about? Yeah, so we had a comedian perform at one of our first Zooms, and he is living in LA, but his parents are back, maybe like it was in Ohio, I want to say, and they're cute little gray couple, gray hair, like listening, cheering their son on. And one of our comedians, Stoner Rob, love him, he was our host that week, and he was teasing them. He said, now I know you two like old folks, I know you're just token up at home right now. And they're like, and then out of the screen she pulls her joint out with her roach clip and shows it, and like crazy. So like that kind of stuff like doesn't happen when we have home shows. So that's cool.
Yeah. No, the concept of your guys' show is awesome. I love comedy. It's something that I'm passionate about, and just to see you guys have fun with it. And then all around, you guys have live music. I've also seen that you ventured off and have your live channels with music and DJs and stuff. So you still are continuing to, put the name out there. Now, does being in a relationship, does that play a big factor on the success that you guys are having for the business?
I think we both bring different parts of this to the show, and I don't really know exactly what it is yet, but I think it's a yin-yang of some sorts.
Yeah, and I think it's just like also I'm not a comedian, Max, and I don't know all of the ins and outs of necessarily like a stand-up show, but I'm a producer and I can make things go. And so I think we both respect one another for our talents. Yeah. And I guess just it gets hard. The hard part about it is you're in a relationship. So sometimes like those business disagreements are a little bit more personal, but I mean, I think we enjoy it more than we don't.
We have our friends and our family that come and they give us their opinions on things, and
whether or not we want them or not.
And even like getting that opinion through that type of filter might not help, but getting Allie's opinion on certain things, whether it's something down to different wine or our headliner or our host, like she definitely produces the show way more than me, if not equal.
Now you guys have a different vibe. People, when they go into stand-up, they don't have the music, they don't have the crowd, so they're already pumped when they step into you guys' stage. What is someone that may be listening, and once we go back to normal, what expect when they walk into the green room?
We like to treat people like they're superstars.
Yeah, it's hard, especially when you're starting off at at venues when we're not necessarily charging people enough money to pay everyone what they deserve. I think like Max has always been really good about, hey, can you come perform at our show? If you need a ride, we'll get you a ride. Do you need dinner? Like that kind of, whatever we can, because he knows how it is to work for free for your craft. And we're not trying to get anybody for free. We're trying to give them stage time and then eventually pay them. When our show started getting bigger, then it was awesome to start being able to pay people. But yeah, when they come to our show, I think expect to hang out. That's another thing is really good. Sometimes like you go to venues and comedians will come, they'll pop in for their time and do a little wave and peace out. We notice that people are like hanging from like the beginning, like they come early, they hang to see the rest of the comedians. So I'm thinking that it's a real comfortable place.
And I knew we had something when you hear other people talking about your show that you don't know, but to hear or to see a comedian get nervous before they go on stage is pretty cool. To get nervous to impress our friends and family, it
means you care about something, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Some comics would just come and go. To see a crowd there get nervous and want to put on a good show is like really inspiring.
What would you say would be the biggest obstacle that you guys are going to face once everything is back to normal?
That's a good question.
We're not interested in being the police. And that was that's what's so cool about having a stand-up show that's 420 friendly in an area that most people live. It's people act right.
Okay.
Right? You don't have people like going ham, booing your comedians, anything like that, because they live there. They're having the right mix of maybe some alcohol and cannabis, whatever. But
when we come back to our show, the audience, the comedians, the venue they'll be ready to go and follow everything how it's supposed to go.
Yes, thank you. We don't want to be the mask police.
Yeah.
Wear a mask, everybody. Wear a mask. Get vaccinated. We've been vaccinated since February, so definitely do that. But yeah, that's the thing that like we're just like we're stressed about, right? Like we want everybody to feel. That's why we do these shows, is like these 420 friendly shows, is we want someone that doesn't drink necessarily to be comfortable, and we do it outside, because if you don't imbibe in cannabis, maybe you don't want to be inside with someone that's also smoking. We want everyone to be comfortable. Yeah. And so that's part of it, is like, how are we going to have to police this situation if we're still in this like weird limbo?
And we've been like talking to comics and venues and audience members throughout the entire pandemic, and you have a range of comedians and venue owners and audience members that were ready to go back. There is a whole population of them that were waiting to see if shows were going to continue, and then they're all waiting to see if we were getting vaccinated, and they were going to wait to see when everything comes back into play. Honestly, I think waiting until the main comedy clubs start opening up again, and even after that, when you have every single comic comfortable, ready to perform, I think that's when you're ready to go. You don't want to force people to go up there or have a comic go up there and already be nervous when they're on stage. And honestly, same thing with an audience member too, a venue owner.
Now, in the years that you've been there, I'm pretty sure, I just want to know a funny situation where somebody was just fried out and just like froze up, was higher than the giraffe's ass. Has that happened to y'all?
Oh my gosh. Our very first show, Max was gonna kill me because I was working the dab bar, or like by the dab bar, and inviting everybody that comes in, hey, come take a dab, hey, come check this out or whatever. And we had a couple comedians show up early, and I said, ladies, do you feel like taking a dab? And they were both like, yes, so down. And if someone says that to me, that says that they've done that before. She got up on stage afterwards and took the mic and was just like, oh. And at first we thought it was part of her like act, so we just waited. But she just kept going, wow, oh no, wow. We're like, oh.
And there's also 50 people in the way it's set up too, that room, just surrounding her.
Yeah.
And it could definitely be a stress-inducing moment if you're not quite familiar with what's going on. And I remember looking at Allie going, I can't believe we just did that.
Is this part of the act?
Is this theater?
What would be one of the milestones that you guys hit that you want to share with us?
Ooh, I'll go first because this is very exciting to me. Pay everyone that had been volunteering for us the whole time. Like our friends that did the door and helped us set up all the tables and chairs and take down everything every night. And we're just doing it out of the kindness of their hearts and a little bit of wine. It was so cool to be able to pay them and pay the comedians after that show. Like even when they weren't expecting it. So that was fun.
I think that would be a cool interview too. There's only 2 of us here now, but I feel like it takes 10 people to put on the show. Like you have vendors and our good friends that work the door and the bar and helping us clean up and set up and the sound guy.
That would be a good reality.
Real quick, before I let you guys go, I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Quick questions, quick answers, okay? What is something that both of y'all learned from during the pandemic?
Ooh, I'm not good without a schedule. I need a schedule.
Showering, you don't have to shower every day, but you should shower every week.
Given the opportunity, who would you want on stage to do a set for you guys?
Ooh, Trixie Mattel, world famous drag queen.
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock, okay. How do you guys keep motivated and keep going with the business when a lot of comedy clubs are closing?
I think that's why. We started doing this because we live in Venice, California, and there is not really there's no stand-up happening. And so I think that, if anything, that would be even a bigger motivator for us to keep trying to put these like small local things together.
Yeah, and even when we were doing it over COVID, we were thinking about even doing it in the backyard, but obviously COVID restrictions and stuff like that. So I think what keeps us motivated is just comedy in general and people wanting to see live comedy. And then if comedians are listening, just having them hit us up and just saying, hey, can we get a spot soon?
With everything we do here at Dragging the Line podcast, we like to promote local. Is there any particular business that comes to mind that you would like to give a shout out to?
Check for us at the Comedy Chateau, June 4th. It's a brand new comedy venue, so we'd like to see them do well. It's in North Hollywood. It was previously a French chateau, so that's why it's a little funny name, Comedy Chateau, but it's pretty fancy on the inside. It's really nice, and we'll be having our show June 4th on the patio.
Yeah. And This isn't local, but the Last Prisoner Project, there's still 40,000 or so people incarcerated for low-level, non-violent marijuana offenses.
Where can everyone follow you guys?
You can find us at The Green Room LA. That's THGREENLA on Instagram. Oh my god.
I was going to say something.
I'm Mike Golden at The Green Room LA. THEGRENLA.
I was like, we're really going to let him do this again? All right.
Before I go, I always like to ask this. Was there any questions that I didn't ask that maybe you want the listeners and the viewers to know?
Oh, I love that question, but...
I love that question because that's the question that you're supposed to ask at a job interview when they're like, is there anything that...
Are there any hesitancies about hiring me for this position?
Allie, what was your worst job?
Oh, thankfully I haven't had a lot of bad jobs, but my worst class in college was when it was an acting class that I didn't know I was taking, and I had to do a monologue in front of everyone. It was the most horrifying experience of my life. So, cheers, everybody!
Question for you.
Yes, sir.
You've been doing a lot of these interviews. Obviously, it'll take some time for us to be your favorite. But who was the besides us, what was the most interesting interview that you had? Because I went through a few, but I still want to check out a few more.
John was one of my favorite ones. He was the one that was locked up. Now he's out. His podcast out and just preaching and helping everyone else. So he had a second chance in life. So if it wasn't for that interview, I don't think we would have been where we be right now. So I always have to give him credit for that. Yeah.
Oh, I actually did think of something that we can mention, and that's that we're always looking for cannabis brands that want to partner with us or maybe sponsor a show. In particular, women-run brands. If you're a woman of color, hit us up. We'd love to talk to you about sponsoring a Green Room show.
Absolutely. And again, something that attracted me was just the whole local, the helping each other out, just even while we had this conversation. And I love that. I think that we need more of that everywhere we go. So I wish you guys a lot of success. whenever you want to be on the show. Y'all come down to Texas.
We will drive far.
Everybody says that to me off camera. That's the number one. Damn, Pee Wee Herman fucked it up for the whole state. Again, guys, I appreciate you. I really do. And we'll talk soon. And y'all have a good night. Y'all enjoy.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us on. If you're ever in LA, let us know.
Oh, always. I got family out there. I told y'all. Y'all take care.
Thanks,
Bye,
man.
thanks.
Bye.